The final week in any league is always the most exciting to watch, whether it is every team racing for that finals playoff spot, the most exciting games will happen, or even my favorite, you'll see the most memes. It is always super fun and exciting, and this week is unlike no other. Hello and welcome to week 5 of the Upsurge Minor League, broadcasted by Bombers Live in association with ICTV Sports. I am your play-by-play caster, Jared Cameridian Anderson, here with M. Rosehawk Reynolds. And for those of you who are new to League of Legends, here are a few tips on how to play.
League of Legends is a team-oriented strategy game where 2 teams of 5 players work together and attempt to destroy the enemy's base. While that sounds simple, it's easier said than done. Players can choose from a roster of over 150 champions, each with their own playstyle and unique set of abilities. With 5 players on each team, there are hundreds of millions of possible team compositions, meaning no 2 games are the same. Teams play on opposite sides of a map called Summoner's Rift, which is divided into 3 lanes, called Bot for bottom, Mid for middle, and Top for, well, top. In between the lanes is the jungle, a shadowy area full of neutral monsters that can be taken down to earn powerful rewards for yourself and your team. It's really more of a forest, but just go with it. Each team typically sends 2 people bot, 1 person mid, 1 person top, and puts another in the jungle. Each lane is a path between each base protected by several turrets. You need to destroy the enemy's turrets to get into their base and win the game, which sounds simple, but turrets are very tough and take time to knock down. A single champion on its own is nowhere near strong enough to destroy one. To do that, you need the help of minions. Minions are small, computer-controlled units that walk down each lane in waves. Each team wants to use their minions to push up to the enemy turret in order to chip away at it while it attacks the minions. Taking down towers, minions, and enemy champions grants players gold and experience that they can use to empower their abilities and buy items, making them stronger. Taking out enemy champions also takes them off the map for a period of time. Respawn timers start out short, but by the end of the game they can last upwards of 40 seconds. The team that balances all these variables the best will come out on top and destroy the enemy nexus. Games typically last around 30 minutes, and often 2 teams will play in a best of 3 or best of 5 set to decide who wins the match. Well, that's the basics. Back to you guys at the casting desk.
I love watching that video because it helps remind me how to play League of Legends because, sometimes I do forget. But as a reminder to everyone who's watching, this is the last week of group play for the Upsurge Minor League, and there is a potential for some spicy rankings as we look into this. There is a possibility for a 3-way tie, or a 4-way tie rather, for first place if Ithaca is able to win this game today, and then we have a few other circumstances go later or across other teams. But regardless, in hopes for Ithaca, because that is who we are broadcasting for today, if they get a 2-0 win over DragonClaw today, then they will automatically make the playoffs. But if we get a 2-1 victory, then Eclipse and WCG win, it will force a tiebreaker, which would be very, very, very interesting. But regardless, I think that Ithaca will do very well, and we will be hoping for the best. And as I have said before, the teams we will be seeing today are Ithaca College and DragonClaw. For Ithaca College, on the blue side, we have Eli Ron in the top lane, Icy Sandbag in the jungle, Garfield's Lazaga in the mid lane. Down in the bot lane in the ADC role, we have CF Card, and supporting him will be Man Walrus. And on the side of DragonClaw, who will be starting on the red side, we have Abravos in the top lane, Ruko in the jungle, Senpai in the mid lane. In the bot lane, we have Lotus Taco, and in the support role, we have Banks. And now, this will be an interesting series today because there are a couple picks that both teams really like to pull out, and especially the one I'm going to bring up is the Jhin. We have multiple Jhin players in this game, and as we saw from Ithaca's last 2 series, they really have loved to utilize this Jhin down in the bot lane to help get CF Card ahead really, really early. As well as Ithaca, I do want to point out how they always love their Death Ball comps with the Hecarim, the Taric, and the Singe, and I really feel like those could come into handy this game if things get, or if the champ selects allow them to play it out. What do you think, Em?
Well, it definitely, there's a lot of similar team comps on both sides from what I have seen looking at it. They play a lot of parallel champions, very similar combat styles.
Agree. Both of these teams are really do seem to look to deathball into the other team. So I'm excited to see, because when two teams tend to deathball into each other, we get a lot of mayhem and a lot of craziness. So I think it'll be really cool to see what happens. I feel like we're going to get a couple fiestas. We're going to get a lot of kills, and there's not going to be much waiting around to late game. I feel like everything important is going to happen in the early to mid game. But they are almost ready with Champ Select, so we will be back in just a moment to get started with Game 1. Welcome back to Game 1 between IC and DragonClaw. Reminder, this is Week 5, a very, very important week, and so far we have seen the Mordekaiser and Zed bans on the side of IC with the Shen ban on DragonClaw. No bans that really surprised me too much. DragonClaw has a very, very big Zed player in the mid lane, along with a Mordekaiser player, and he's not a huge Mordekaiser player, but at the same point, with a lot of champions that Eli Ron wants to play, like the Fiora, like the Jax, Mordekaiser is just not a fun champion to play into. Caitlyn, not too much of another surprise. Another huge power pick there in the bot lane that DragonClaw might have wanted to use to help power through the laning phase, and Tarek not a bin that we are surprised to either, as the Samira gets insta-locked. That right there is a high damage champion. Graves getting hovered and locked in now. DragonClaw, very, very strong power farming jungler. Something that is really, really good in the meta just because how versatile it is. You can build it either with this lethality build that's usually, obviously meant towards cutting down squishy targets, or a more of a bruiser type build with Black Cleaver Stairs and that kind of stuff. But it will be followed in by the Alistar to help give them some front line in the upcoming game. I'm thinking that Ithaca is probably going to go jungle support here. Yep, there it is. Hecarim. And I think with the Hecarim, if they went something like a set, maybe, or if not a set, then I would assume some other bruisery type support. They might even go they can't go Shen because it's banned, but I would assume another dive support. That's a dive support in the Leona. So Ithaca, as you can see them right now, they're looking to build up their dive comp. They want to slam into the enemy team as hard as they can. With a Hecarim and Leona, they're going to be able to do that very easily.
Leona has a ton of CC in her kit.
She really does, and it's able to counteract the Alistar, because she can do what Alistar wants to do, just with a dash. So, so it's very good. Is DragonClaw locked into Lucian for the last pick of the first rotation of picks, I should say. We don't really know where it's going at. Could be in the mid lane, could be in the bot lane, could be in the top lane. Who knows? But carry top laners is the name of the game today, focusing out Eliron, which is not a huge surprise from what we've seen last week. He had a crazy Fiora backdoor as well as a huge Jax game. So I'm not super surprised. Maybe they might even throw out an Ornn here, force him on something that they don't see him on like that.
Those were immediate bans. You're just instant.
Instant, yeah, very true. And there's another top champion we're talking about, Ornn. So Ornn is still available, a little bit sleeper. I don't know if it's really something Ithaca would want to pick up, because usually with these dive ball comps, they want to go something that can dive with it. But I guess Ornn wouldn't be bad exactly, but I feel something in the top lane. I think, top lane. I'm trying to think of a spicy pick that I want to see. Yeah, I don't know. If he picks Ornn, Eliron could pull out an Alawi. I've seen him do it before. It could be something that really would able to give them damage, but it doesn't really give them the dive that they want. That's more of just like a hard split pusher. But I guess, I don't know. What are you thinking here?
I was gonna say the DragonClaw top laner plays a lot of Malphite, but it's like it's going to be the Scion.
Scion, another huge tank. So it seems like right now DragonClaw's building a very, very, very strong front line with that Scion and that Alistair. They are going to be big boys, very hard to take down.
Oh, yeah.
As they go. And there's another big boy to go with a Cho'Gath. We'll be looking to scale into that Scion. I mean, there's not really much a Scion can do into a Cho'Gath or a Cho'Gath can do into a Scion. They're just going to be meatballing themselves top lane.
Cho'Gath is just a progressively larger boy.
True, true. Scion may always be a big boy, but Cho'Gath is progressively larger.
He just grows.
Ooh. Oh. The Lux coming out, presumably in the mid lane for Lazaga. That's not a pick we've seen him throw, but not a pick I think would be out of his champion pool. This guy has an endless champion pool, a champion ocean, we should say, with so many picks he can just pull out at a moment's notice.
You could call it a champion infinity pool.
True. And DragonClaw will finish out the draft phase with the Galio. So a lot of dive, a lot of frontline for both of these teams. And the one thing I'm noticing that is lacking in DragonClaw, that's a really big thing for me, is they don't have a lot of scaling damage. Yes, they have the Lucian and the Galio and the Graves that'll do quite a bit of damage into the early and mid game, but they're missing that late game carry that Ithaca has with the Samira.
Yeah, unless that Lucian gets very large, very fast, he's just going to fall off.
I really do agree with that, and we are going to take a quick break, sadly, before we get into game one. Stay tuned. Game one of the final week of Upsurge Minor League here between Ithaca College and DragonClaw. Exciting games, fun champions, and brawlery comps. I'm really excited what happens here today. Looking like we're going to see a spicy topside invade from Ithaca to start it out, whereas DragonClaw are just going for a normal fan across the map. I'm excited for this. Maybe they'll be able to catch out the Scion. I'm not entirely certain, but I love these pre-planned level 1 strats. They're always so much fun. Has been pinged out, though, on the side of DragonClaw, and they will just back off as now both Taco and Banks will look for some early vision across Sandbag's bot side.
They're looking to invade here.
They are. They might even sit here and wait for Ithaca's bot lane to come through, which could be a deadly trap. Although, we're definitely going to see a level 1 skirmish, but I do not think Manwaris or CF Card will look through this bush so far. Look through this bush to see they're there. Oh. Game has been paused now. I'm not sure what has happened. Oh, I think I know what's happened, but regardless, we can just talk about runes and stuff really quick. Cho'Gath taking the grass. Both top laners have grass, rather. Oh. Whether the game is back or not, but we can just keep on chatting. There we go. It is 5 seconds till red buff has spawned, and the Dragons have shown themselves to Ithaca College. Now it is a 4-on-3 in the spot side jungle. It does look like Garfield's Saga may do something. Yep, they're starting to collapse on it. The red buff down to 600 health. Hecarim uses his smite, and he will collect the red buff. The stun goes down onto both the Alistair and the Graves. Leona flash auto, and it is a 2-for-0 starting out for Ithaca College, and Sandbag gets his red buff.
First blood onto the Samira.
Love to see her, and they're even forcing the flash out of that Galio early, which is so important. And Cho'Gath looks so small right now, but as you said earlier, he exponentially becomes a very, very big boy.
Which skin is that? Is that Gentleman Cho'Gath?
It is Gentleman Cho'Gath. I mean,
Phenomenal.
He's got to be polite up there. I honestly, also that. Oh, it's not the cool. I thought that was the new Scion skin. That new one is World. Is it World Breaker? It's not World Breaker, is it? It might be.
It might be.
They released it with the Malzahar skin, I think, in the.
Oh yeah.
I don't know, but either way, I think that one's really, really cool. Like, and of course, there's always the big train Mecha Scion, but Graves is looking for something on the top side now, as Eliron is trying to fight it in the Cho'Gath, or Scion, rather. He will get knocked up. The Scion is getting very, very low, but someone's going to have to blow a flash. They will be killed. And Eli will not blow a flash. He will just accept defeat for now. And no way did he just do that. Eli able to get the first blood onto that Scion. Holy Winions. I do not know what was going on there. Using the wave to make us to the Graves. Couldn't get his auto attack down. It's something very important. And now Sandbag is in on the top lane. Now battling, duking it out with his Graves, proccing the Conqueror. Graves has to flash, and he will survive because Sandbag does not have the means of killing him underneath his tower.
Sandbag does take a tower shot.
He does, but he'll make it out for now. And these are very interesting trades we're seeing early. I mean, yeah, I don't know. That was a very interesting play top lane. I really wish we could go back and review it because I feel like that should not have gone how it went. But
no,
regardless,
it was very good maneuvering by Aileron.
It really was. He used that minion wave really, really well to make sure that the Graves couldn't auto attack him, which really did help him out there. But he got first blood off of it too. He didn't even. Yeah, he died, but we expected him to die to begin with. And like, if you look, he didn't even use his flash. You know, like that's crazy stuff.
Very impressive.
But yeah. This Graves has cleared one camp at almost 5 minutes. That is 2 camps now. That is scary. That early invade set him so far behind. That is not what you want to see, especially on someone who just wants to hard farm the game out like the Graves.
Top lane here is just battle of the knockups.
True. Battle of the knockups. Tank fight. It's like a Maokai. Almost. Oh, wow. I can't talk. Almost the most boring matchup we can have. Okay, here we go. Give me your most boring top lane matchup.
Most boring top lane matchup.
Yes.
Ooh. Oh. Aren't most top lane matchups boring?
Yeah, but that's not most. We're going with most boring. Here.
Most boring. Ooh. Maybe Malphite Scion?
That's a good one. I was going to say Malphite Maokai. Or Malphite Scion. Malphite Scion can also be good. But regardless, an engage in a bot lane from Manwallers onto the Lucian. He will hit his E and stun him up. Alistar has to flash out to safety, and he will make it. I believe he still has the Pulverize to knock up anyone if he needs to. But Sandbag forcing the flash out of Banks in the bot lane. This Hecarim is really taking advantage of having this huge CS lead, just able to take over the map. As we've seen him go mid lane, go top lane, go bot lane, and he's still ahead of the Graves by quite a bit of CS at this point. Out of the other lanes right now, though, we're going pretty evenly. Lux being up about a wave, but I think there's a wave pushing towards the Galio, and Lucian only being up 1 CS means that most of the lanes right now are pretty even. It's just the jungle XP that's going to be really hurting.
That Lux is level 6. So that
engage onto CF card in the bot lane. I'm sorry, he gets headbutt pulverized into ignite and eventually will get taken down. Not really what you want to see. He had a kill and an assist. I guess he gets to cash in that gold now, but regardless, it's not really something you want to do.
Did pop a heal, I believe.
He did pop the heal, yes. He popped his heal to just the ignite from the Alistar, just stepping a little bit too far forward and getting headbutt pulverized into death. Which is unfortunate.
Yeah, the Lux now with her ultimate has free wave clear, essentially.
Yeah, essentially free wave clear. She will always have Prio in the Galio, which is pretty important because you want to keep him from roaming the best you can. Because he won't have as much. Well, she doesn't have as much roaming potential, rather, as the Galio would. Hecarim now going into Graves will just proc. He won't even proc his Conqueror. He'll just do a little trade and run away. Their bot lane's resetting, and it looks like we may see a scrap coming in as on the way pings and help pings are showing in the bot lane onto the Galio and the Alistar. Doesn't not sure too much of coming, but directed camera obviously wants us to view the top lane, which is so exciting. And is there anything better than the top lane ever? Like,
I mean, as far as top lane matchups go, this is going decently entertaining.
I guess so. There is a kill. There is a kill. So that does make the lane interesting.
A lot of skirmishing between the two of them because they have very similar kits.
Yeah, they do. A lot of shields, a lot of health regain, and frankly, a lot of knockups. But Ithaca will lose this first dragon now, which is the Infernal. And the next Drake we will get is Ocean, which means we will either be seeing a Cloud or a Mountain Drake. What do you think would be the ideal Drake for each team, and why do you think so?
For each team, probably the Cloud would be preferable for Ithaca with the Lux, and probably the Mountain for Dragon.
I feel like a Mountain Soul could be really, really impactful for either side of the field, just because of that. Like that passive armor you'll be getting, and what the 2 tanks on the side of Ithaca, 3 basically if you count Hecarim, and the 3 tanks if you're counting Galio. Oh, I am going to count Galio. She took Aftershock on the side of DragonClaw. It's just, I don't know. I just feel like a Mountain Soul could really change the game in retrospect. You know, where the Cloud Soul is like, haha, we go fast, but which I guess could be helpful for the Hecarim, and for the Leona maybe, but I don't know. I mean, we'll see soon enough, I'm sure. Level 6 marker now coming in for the Alistar, which means they will be looking for an engage. The Headbutt Pulverize will miss onto the Samira as he will ult now. Samira gathering up her ult charges on the A, onto the S. Galio is ulting in, and as Samira will be taken out after she flashes, Lucian will use his culling to try to take down Manwalrus, who then gets knocked up, and holy, that Lux did a lot more damage than I thought she was going to do. Cow gets turned into hamburger, but double flash under the bot lane tower is now there looking for a 3-man dive, and Larzaga will get his 2nd kill onto the Lucian, which is very important. And oh, that's actually, if they had canceled that TP, that would have been so important, but Graves is just going to get delivered to the Hecarim. And overall, a really good trade. 3 for 2 for the side of Ithaca.
There was a missed binding in there by the Lux.
There was a missed binding, but she just does such a surprising amount of damage. I mean, I guess...
Well, she had the Lost Chapter, and she has the Ludens now.
Fair enough, but like...
That is a very large Lux.
True. And she's only going to get bigger, I mean, with more CDR and more damage she gets. Hecarim now taking a really big trade from the Galio. Will not have to... Well, I guess he doesn't have very many cooldowns to blow regardless. But he will collect his wave that he rightfully deserves. Huh. Wait, is that might even be the cool Scion skin? I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I have no idea.
That Cho'Gath is looking bigger.
True. No, that's not the special Scion skin. Okay. I got excited for a moment, but it looks like Elaron might be building a team map. Maybe for some wave clear. Okay. Oh, Titanic I don't think would be bad. Maybe with his passive from his, is that his W? The one that gives him the little spikes after his auto? I think it is. I think his Q is the Rupture and his E is the Silence.
Looks like Ithaca are going to take the Herald here.
They are going to take the Herald. I mean, they get Prio across all of the lanes. Scion using Unstoppable Force to get in. Elaron is able to eat the Rift Herald and then pick it up, as now Scion is taken very, very, very low, but he is so damn tanky as it goes. Headbutt Pulverized onto the Hecarim as now he tries to run away, but he will be taunted and taken down by the Hecarim. So a 1-for-0 trade on the side of DragonClaw, but they get the Hecarim as compensation. Samira doesn't look like she's having too much fun either into the bot side, which is...
Not particularly.
Unfortunate. I guess... I don't know. Samira scales. We know she scales. We'll see some big Samira ults in the future, I'm sure of it. And but right now, she's just not... I think it scales really, really hard and anything about it. You have the infinite scaling from the Cho'Gath chomps. You have Lux. You have that. Half-healthing a Galio.
Just Lux.
Yeah, and then Samira. So
With this Bammies on the Cho'Gath.
yeah, I think it'll be going into a Cinderhulk, just like, or wow, Cinderhulk. I'm not Cinderhulk. He's not a jungler. It's Sunfire Cape, much like the Scion has once he finishes that team. I guess we'll see right now. Awaiting. Will we get something
Sunfire
fun?
Cape.
Tiamat, boots.
Sunfire Cape is an
Cloth armor.
interesting item.
I don't think it's so bad. I mean, you think about all of the damage that is probably going to happen on the side of DragonClaw. It's going to be magic damage. Or, sorry, holy moly. It's going to be physical damage. I mean, with the Graves and the Lucian being their primary damage dealers, I think that is a pretty good item because it negates some of that damage that they'll be doing. I mean, I guess the Lucian did start a Bork, so we could take down those tanks easily, but...
There are a lot of wards around this Dragon Pit for the side of DragonClaw.
There really are, and the Drake is now taken down to a little bit below 3,000 HP. Manwalrus will be knocked up by the headbutt pulverize, and very close to taking that will be the Lux, but TP top.
Dropped the Herald in the top lane.
They did get that plate gold over to Eli, which is important. I think very important. He's able to get most of that tower. I think the tower only has one plate left. Like, the Scion had to blow his TP for that. So now in the next fight, Ithaca's going to have that extra TP that DragonClaw's not going to have. But CF card getting picked off, something that we've seen a lot from Ithaca, especially these last 2 weeks, just taking a few steps too far forward and then just getting taken out because of it. It's not very... It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate.
It does happen, though.
It do indeed be like that sometimes.
Have these middle of the lane wards up top side. That one just popped.
Huh. Hecarim now coming in for gank, ult into the Scion, and he will push him backwards. Scion does proc his ult, but he will just knock up the Cho'Gath and nothing will come of it. Galio is now here to join the fight as he uses his ultimate to come in. Is also Graves is decided to join the party. Now Hecarim will be running for his life. Huge Cho'Gath Rupture will knock up both members of DragonClaw, and they will run for now, although Garfield's Azaga has shown up. Flash from the Graves will knock up the Hecarim as Garfield's Azaga is taken so low. That deals a lot of damage. The Dazzle will not kill the Graves because of the the Flash, rather, but overall, a one-for-one trade. I don't think that's so bad for Ithaca there. They got a kill onto the Cho'Gath, which I feel is important, getting him farther and farther ahead. I am certain that he has a pretty gigantic gold lead because of all those plates he was able to pick up, plus the 2 kills he has. He has to have some decent gold over that Scion.
The kills and the gold actually are even on both sides.
True, that is something that's very important to look at because as we keep going on to the game, I feel like gold leads are something that can be important. Like as we talked about as we were loading in, this game could be decided by inches. Like inches in the early game could mean a lot for these teams.
This Hecarim is significantly out CSing the Graves, though.
He is doing very well at the moment to keep ahead of his jungle clear. I mean, jungle farming is the meta, and he is metaing right. Lanes, oh my.
That Lucian.
He's just dead.
Just no longer exists.
With all that damage that Cho'Gath built, yeah. Okay, the Rupture into the 2 auto attacks into the Munch, and Lucian is no more. Well, that is
a very large Cho'Gath. Already at this point in the game.
Yeah, and as you said, he exponentially just gets chunkier. So this Cho'Gath is going to be a real big problem for the side of World Class, especially because Lucian isn't the kind of champion that is going to shred tanks, and Cho'Gath is going to be tanky boy, as we see him now finish his tabbies and buy that chain vest to finish off, or to almost be able to finish off the Sunfire Cape.
That Cho'Gath is the size of a tower.
He is, and it's only 17 minutes. Hecarim now going into the Alistar, who uses his ult to try to escape the CC, but he will not get it done. The ult from the Hecarim onto the Lucian means he will get practically one shot. Holy moly. The Sunfire will land onto the Galley, although it will not stun him, just slow him. And Lux ult just... Alistar doesn't have resistances yet. He's building the... Well, I think would be a Frozen Heart, but he's not building anything that's going to do anything with the Lux. And because she has those pen boots plus the Luden, she just tore apart that cow.
That Lux lands her combo on you, and you are no longer in existence.
Yeah. Yeah, this is like a dodge or die kind of game for sure. As Ithaca now have a 2,000 gold lead, almost a 3,000, not almost 3,000, but a little bit over 2,000 gold lead. We hit the 18-minute mark now, and
that is
yeah,
a second herald for Ithaca.
Yeah, and if you look at the gold charts, this Cho'Gath is Ithaca's lead right now. Their lead is 100% on the dinosaur, and they need to keep him as strong as they can throughout the game goes. So I feel like if the Lucian can't... I'm going to call him that. What do you think he is? Okay, if he's not a dinosaur, then what is he?
I mean, he's a void creature, so is he technically a dinosaur?
Yes.
Alright, fair enough.
He is big dino boy with big hat. We did see a TP come into this fight, by the way, out of Eli Ron, just letting you know, is they're somewhat looking for an engage. The Dragon, I do not know if it has been started as the camera is trolling us right now. Rift Herald will get dropped in the mid lane to try to work towards getting that tower. Double Rupture by the Cho'Gath onto the Alistar, and Sion is now Sion used Unstoppable Force to get into the back lines of Ithaca.
Eli Ron is just running headlong in here.
He really is. My stream is lagging for me. I'm not sure, so you might have to call the fight a little bit.
I've got nothing. There we go.
Well, we happen to miss this fight, but it was a 3-for-1 for Ithaca, with only Hecarim dying on the side of Ithaca and 3 members falling on the side of DragonClaw. And speaking of dragons, the second dragon or Ithaca's second dragon of the game will get picked up. Or, sorry, Ithaca's first dragon of the game, and the first cloud dragon of the game will get picked up. So, it's big. The cooldown reduction on that Lux ult is kind of huge.
Huge. That Lux, by the way, is 3-0.
And 7. You can't. That 7 is a very important number.
You're right.
And she's building a Leandry, so she's going to do even more damage to those high HP targets.
You just don't get comboed by the Lux.
Yeah, it's like a dodging simulator. Dodge the Rupture, dodge the snare from the Lux, and you'll be okay as long as you don't get hit by the Hecarim or the Samira, you know? Yeah. Ooh.
Just not a game I would want to be in. Not the situation I would want to be in.
No, neither would I. I would hate to be that Lucian. It's just so many people trying to one-shot you at once. It's not something I'm a fan of by any means.
Got the Black Cleaver on the Graves.
We do. That did just get finished, as well as this Bomby Cinder now being built on the Hecarim now that he has finished his Trinity Force. So we're seeing a couple of big power spikes coming across the board, which is pretty nice. Cho'Gath finishes Sunfire as well, which is something that's really, really helpful for them. Solar Flare coming down, not stunning any targets, but slowing 2 of them. Alistar will use his Righteous Glory on the Cho'Gath as Hecarim ults in the backline, bringing Graves in, who just gets gobbled up almost instantly and taken down, although it does look like Ithaca's losing this fight. Flash over the wall from the Lucian onto the backline. That was a huge Galio snare, locking 2 people up, and Ithaca was fighting without their mid laner, and is starting to show that they are missing out on that damage.
Sion flashed onto the Lux.
Indeed, not being able to take her out, but being able to force her flash and get her out of the fight, as it looks like DragonClaw will be picking up the Baron now. I don't know. This is a risky one. That Lux ult is kind of huge, and DragonClaw does not have their jungler. So this dragon could be potentially stolen if something was to happen. Yeah, they just decided to back off the Baron. I think that's a smart move. I'm not sure there's much they could do there, you know?
It did look like the Lux was in position to try to steal it.
Yeah, and her ultimate will basically do as much as a smite will. So it's just not the greatest idea for DragonClaw to do.
No.
Oh. Still a little bit under a 2,000 gold lead for Ithaca.
That is a very large Shogath.
He's getting pretty chunky. He's a lot bigger than he was when we first started the game.
Have they programmed a size cap onto that champion?
I don't know.
I'm curious.
I couldn't tell you. I don't play too much Shogath, I'll be honest.
No, I pretty much only play him in special game modes. But, like, that's the only place I play most champions.
I mean, it do be like that sometimes. We have a champion love and it doesn't get banned. Why play anything else, you know?
Yeah. Like, no one in ranked is banning Nami.
True. Exactly. I mean, I have a little bit of a problem because I play Hecarim and Evelyn, so it feels like one of them's getting banned every game. But regardless.
Eh.
Ranked has been a grind for me. Let me tell you, I have lost like 10 of my last 12 games. It is not going well. But
I don't think
looking
I've
like a
touched
pick
it in a
onto the
while.
Lux now is, yes, she just
The
gets walks
shutdown.
into the fast cow, and the shutdown will go over to that Lucian.
It's very good for that Lucian. He's not behind, but it's
He
still
isn't
big.
behind. He's actually rather ahead with 2.5 items. Eli Ron TPing in behind. It looks like DragonClaw will back off the Baron, maybe trying to pick off Eli Ron, although the rest of Ithaca has grouped up. This is a 4v5. Remember, before the fight starts, his Lux will not be up for 17 seconds. Galio flashes in, taunting 3 members of Ithaca's main Mars are taken very, very, very low. Calling coming out, not doing too much damage, although the Hecarim will get knocked out by the Hecarim. Huge rupture. 4-man rupture into the big ult from the Samira means that it will not be a one fight for Ithaca yet, but it definitely was they were able to turn the fight around. Another rupture landing onto the Graves as now he is trying to peel into the backline. Cho'Gath will not have his E2 used on them, but he is just so damn tanky that he's able to do whatever he needs to back it off. Lux is now alive and looking towards the fight, although I am lagging. Cho'Gath is backing away, still quite a bit of HP. It looks like he might even make it to the Lux, and he will not die as it is a 3-for-3 trade. We'll go with 3-for-4 trade for the side of DragonClaw.
That is a very low
Gath.
low Gath.
Indeed. That fight was turned by that 4-man rupture that Eli Ron put out there.
It was
looking like a
impressive.
guaranteed lost fight, and they were able to turn around. You can call it a 3-for-3 because the Lux was pretty much dead from the beginning, or from before the fight started, but that's kind of crazy.
We're setting
Teams
up around
now,
the dragon.
They are setting around this dragon, which would be the 3rd Drake if DragonClaw is able to get it, or the 2nd Drake on the side of Ithaca. And these Cloud Drakes are kind of good for this Lux.
They're
for the
fantastic
Cho'Gath
for the
rupture,
Lux.
for the Hecarim ult. Yeah, it's able to get the extra CDR and those ultimates. It's so helpful. And they will be able to pick up their 2nd Drake.
Melted that Drake.
Yeah. And they didn't even use the Cho'Gath or Chomp. I don't know. Devour, that's what it's called.
That's what it is.
Devour, there we go. That's the name I was looking for. But this Lucian is starting to look really strong too. He's working on that Infinity Edge. He just picked up the pickaxe on his last back, and he is... Oh. We're seeing a lot of pings come out on Manmars as he takes Sandbag's Scuttle Crab. I'm assuming they're just trolling each other, but regardless. Rip Scuttle Crab, the jungler's favorite camp.
Scuttle Crab just vanished.
True.
Like so many other things have been in this game.
Just gobbled up. I wonder what this Lux ult is cooldown is on. So we used it at 26:43 on the game timer. Is it on a... Wow. 26:43, 10 seconds. It's got like less than a 30-second cooldown in that Lux ult at 27 minutes. So he doesn't even have the final point of his ult, and there's still Cloud Drakes to come. This Lux is going to be ulting, and that wasn't even on an execute of a champion. So if this Lux executes a champion with his ultimate, she's going to have her ult up almost instantly. That's
a little
busted.
broken.
Yeah, that's pretty strong.
I mean, there are other champions that you can get their ult cooldowns pretty low on.
Yeah, like this Hecarim ult has to be in a relatively short cooldown as well. I mean, Samira's ult is on like a 4-second cooldown, but you have to stack that up, so that's kind of different.
Yeah.
How that works.
They haven't built that one to rely on the cooldown for limiting its use.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, but if you stack it right.
Like Ashe, Nami, if you build it right, you can get their ult cooldowns down pretty low.
Very true. CDR is so important, but Sion trying to ult away as he will get pushed in by Eli, Ron, and Garfield's Zaga. He will try to flash, but he's taken very low. His Sandbag is, Sandbag is taken very, very low, and Manwaris into the back lines of DragonClaw. Not really where you want to be, but where he is regardless. It is just the Leona and the Hecarim dying on the side of Ithaca for nothing.
Eli Ron is barely taking damage.
Wait. Sion built a Leandries. That's not something I've seen before, but okay. I will have to resume it in this moment as Sion is now TPing in. The Cho'Gath ult will eat the Galio as he is now able to take down the Alistair as well. Double root onto the back line of... Oh, well, CFR just kind of gets a one-shot. I guess there's nothing you can do about that. But... Oh.
Even just this Lux Cho'Gath combo...
Lux has used her ult twice this fight, and it's almost up again. She's used it twice that fight. That wasn't even a super long fight, but regardless. This Senna is really going to need some lifesteal soon. I feel like once she gets lifesteal, she's going to be almost unkillable. Because, like, she got into the backline and pretty much got one-shot by that Lucian, who does have 3 items now, but, like...
Samira.
What did I call her?
Senna.
Ah, thank you. Yes, that is not a Senna. No Sennas today, just a Samira. Calling will come out of the Cho'Gath. Yeah, what did I call him?
No, you've called him Lucian. I just think that's probably why you made the mistake.
Oh, because Lucian and Samira. Okay, no, that does make sense. But...
I've done it.
Yeah, it happens for sure.
It's like, it's a Maokai, and I say Malphite.
Oh, yeah, I understand
every time.
Yeah, it's a hard one to get, because the names, especially when the names are so similar.
Yes.
A lot of third items coming in now. The Void Staff from the Galio, which means it will be doing a decent amount of damage, even though he has Aftershock, but the ultimate charge, or devastating charge, will come in, being able to take down the tower. Solar Flare lands on this Alistair, who will have to pop his ultimate to get to safety, a little bit below half HP. Dragon is spawning in 20 seconds.
The CC chain off of the Lux and the Leona is
nuts.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, you can add a Hecarim Fear to that, and the Samira pass.
Cho'Gath knock up.
Yeah, it's a combo, that's for sure. But Dragon is spawning in 8 seconds. Alistair will be chunked for this fight, and he will not have ultimate, which is a really, really important cooldown, whereas Ithaca will pretty much have everything it needs. No, as we're seeing an engage in a split fight as CF is getting picked up in the side lane. Alistair flashes over the wall just to get one shot. Lucian is taken, or Graves rather, is taken so low, and eventually will be chased down by the Hecarim. Not killed though. Sion using his massive health to frontline this fight as now is Ithaca versus the world in a 4v2. As Hecarim is also split fighting off the Lucian and the Graves. He will be able to take out the Graves, but Lucian will be able to run to safety, and Ithaca could look for the Baron here. They might have to trade it for the Dragon, but they will indeed get the Baron. They are kind of low, but they have the Smite with Sandbag, and they have the Devourer with Cho'Gath. So I feel like they'll be able to take this.
And Lux's ultimate, should they need it.
Should they need it, and they will use it.
That is a hefty chunk of damage off of that ultimate.
They're now TPing into the Drake, or rather, the Lux is TPing to the Drake, as well as Sandbag using his Ghost, but they really shouldn't. I don't think they should contest this. I honestly think they should just concede Soul at this point. Cloud Soul isn't super important as far as souls go. It's not an Ocean Soul or a Mountain Soul, but regardless. Cho'Gath will one-shot the tower.
Cho'Gath just does not even take damage.
Yeah, he doesn't. I mean, he has a Locket, a Stone Plate, a Bramble Vest, a Titanic Hydra, and a Sunfire Cape. He is tanky.
Very.
As they say, and he will be eating away that red buff, too. Huh. Wow. Ithaca's gold lead has now grown to a little bit over 4,000, which is kind of huge. I'm assuming most of it's going to be on the dinosaur, who is now 11-2-2, not wanting to become extinct during this game. That is for sure. But, oh, wow. Yeah, that's a fed Cho'Gath, and he's building a full tank. It's just like...
It's a very, very large Cho'Gath.
He's going to be very hard to kill. I mean, you're seeing double Last Whisper on the side of DragonClaw with them being on the Graves and the Lucian. Both of them actually having Executioners, too. So it's... They're trying their hardest to be able to take him down. No, well, Lucian will actually sell his Executioners as I say that.
The Galio and Scion actually both have Leandries.
Yeah, so they'll be able to mitigate a little bit of that healing that the Cho'Gath will be getting, as well as a little bit of the... They will be able to lower his defenses, but I don't know. I don't think it'll be able to do much, if you ask me.
The Zeke's Convergence on the Leona.
As well as recently completed on the it'll be important for these ADCs to get on that little bit of extra damage when that's able to proc.
The Cho'Gath is not even taking damage from the tower.
Scion is TPing behind them. The Ithaca right now is 2 people behind them. But they are fighting in the front lines regardless. Sandbag able to take out the Galio before he does, and he will escape with his life with that. What the heck is that blockage shield? Okay, sorry. Devastating charge from the Scion into the backlines of Ithaca as Manwars misses his hook onto the Scion, but they will just take him out regardless, as Sandbag gets so much healing from I don't even know what, and this fight is so split as Alistar is now taking out Lucian, is almost one-shot by that Cho'Gath, and Ithaca might be able to end right here. It's 34 minutes. They don't have an inhib, but they have Baron buff, a wave, and a Cho'Gath. So I think...
It's that Cho'Gath. That 12, 2, and 5.
That's actually just kind of crazy. They're even looking for the kill on the Graves. They don't care about the end. They just want the death and decay. And this has been a scaling show. Eli Ron has just been popping off from Ithaca, and it's something that you really, really do want to see as the Nexus gets destroyed and a game 1 goes to Ithaca College. Wow, that was kind of what we expected. Like, we did talk about it in the beginning, how we did not think that DragonClaw had much damage that they could do, and as we saw, they really didn't. They just weren't able to take down that Cho'Gath when it mattered the most, because he was so tanky. But regardless, we are going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we will be getting you all into Game 2. Gamers, gamies, it is time for Game 2 of Week 5 of the Upsurge Minor League, where this could be a very impactful game, where we see that DragonClaw has already qualified themselves for playoffs, but they're looking for that #1 spot, and they need to win this game in order for them to reverse sweep Ithaca College. And Ithaca guarantees a spot for playoffs, assuming that they can win this game here. And so this is going to be a banger of a game. 2 super aggressive team comps against each other, and I am very excited to watch it all unfold.
There's some interesting picks in here. The Cassiopeia. I don't know if I said that weird. Is it Cassiopeia? Cassiopeia? I don't know. Like the constellation. We'll go with that. Got some Greek mythology.
Yeah.
They're just fanning out across the map here.
Nothing too fancy going on at the moment. Just
Galio and the Cassio posturing against each other in mid lane.
Yeah, no huge invades like last time. But alas, regular starts, each jungler will be on their bot side camp as an accent creeps in for a few moments.
I was gonna say, why were you suddenly like Cockney, Brit? That's not Cockney. I haven't taken accents.
Yeah, you think I have? But regardless, both of these junglers just looking to hard clear as much as they can, and I have no idea how this Wukong Aatrox matchup works, if I'm being really honest here.
Yeah, nor do I.
All I know is that monkey with stick usually wins the game, whereas big man with sword likes to
fall off and become irrelevant.
Yeah, pretty much. But I don't know. We'll see where this goes. I think this game relies mostly on the junglers and who each jungler can get ahead, because if this Cassio can get ahead early, I feel like it can scale so much. And as I say it, Graves is now looking for a gank in the mid lane, but bot lane, Banks will hit Manwaris with a hook, and Manwaris will land the dazzle so he can walk out to safety, but not having to blow a summer, which is a very, very good thing to see.
The exhaust did come down off of the Thresh onto the Tarek. Forgot his name for a second.
That is true. I mean, he does look like a lifeguard. He could have said lifeguard man, and I totally would have understood. But it is important to summon our cooldown for sure, especially when you could have a Aphelios that could 200 years you from level 1, so...
Yeah.
Jesus, just seeing that Cassio skin makes me think I'm playing TFT.
It's a very nice skin.
It is. I don't think I've actually seen it in non-TFT before, if I'm being honest. Little bit of jungle skirmishing going on, though. Lilia just getting run down. Oh, she's going to have to at least blow a flash here, as she will. As Aatrox will follow flash and to get to the first blood, as Ithaca will concede it this time. It's
a much different start to the match than last.
Yeah, it really is. The jungling is very, very similar so far. Yes, Sandbag's up at camp, but it doesn't really matter, as Ruko will be able to just take his camps back up. And I do want to notice, I have noticed this both games, Ruko has gone his full clear side of his red side jungle into instantly looking for a gank. But Eli Ron is getting dove in here in the top lane by the Aatrox. He takes 2 turret shots and is now very, very low. And he will flash, but will regardless. He's taken down for a second kill onto that Aatrox, which is kind of spooky, because Aatrox can be a scary, scary champion.
Can be is the key word.
I mean, he is 2-0, so he does have the possibility to get that high. Or to get that strong, rather.
The Wukong rushes him straight off of the TP.
And from seeing Wukong with home guards makes me think of, I don't know if you've ever seen Video Game Donkey, but he has this video where he just goes, I am Car. Oh, flash from Manwaris onto the Ashe. Aphelios will land the root onto her, as well as Lilia is now here for the gank. Hook lands onto Lilia as the TP is coming in from the Aatrox. It instantly goes in, landing the stun on the Manwaris, who has to use his heal to try and survive, and he will be taken down for a 3rd kill onto that Aatrox, which is kind of huge. Lazaga is here to try to clean up the fight, and he will take out the Thresh, as now they start to chase the Lilia, but shouldn't chase him too far because Aatrox is also around. As I am saying, though, before I was rudely interrupted by combat, Donkey has this video where he's playing Wukong, and he goes, I am Car. And then he has a video of him rushing in with home guards and TP, one-shotting someone, and then he just goes, see, I am Car, and then runs away. And I just think of that clip every time I see Wukong with home guards, and it's hilarious. I don't know.
Very funny.
If you haven't watched his League videos, they're so funny. Unfortunately, he does not make League videos, and he made a video on why he doesn't make League videos, but I still suggest his content, even if it's pretty old.
I respect anyone who has stopped making League content because, whew.
Oh, he may stop making League content for a very, very specific reason that is hilarious, so I do suggest, if you see it. But Hook will land onto Aphelios, as well as the Dazzle onto the Thresh. It's just a little bit of trading into the bot lane. Nothing big will come out of it. It's important to note that CF Card does have both of his summers, whereas Taco doesn't have anything, rather, and Banks only has his exhaust. Garfield's Azaga is going in for the gank now into the top lane. Onto this Aatrox, which has a huge shutdown and will be given to that Galio, who is starting to get a gold lead of himself. Yeah, 700 gold up in the Cassio at this point in the game. That's kind of big, but I guess the other 700 gold is traded onto the Aatrox over the Wukong in the top lane. So
yeah, definitely. I mean, the protection you get off of that Galio is
very, very important. That is true.
It's just
very true indeed.
I laugh every time I see that Galio skin.
Oh, yes,
It's-
it has a great backing animation. I love it, and the dance does the chicken dance. It's so good. I have the chicken skin, of course, or chicken chroma, of course, because I think it's hilarious. Or the pink chicken, rather, chroma for that skin. But
fantastic.
yeah, the parakeet one is pretty good too.
Man, this Casio skin is just so pretty. Looks so good.
It does. It's
very nice.
There's a little bit of trading going on. Casio will proc her ultimate, but will not stun Lazaga, and he will not be under the tower, so it doesn't lead to much. More trading going on at the top lane as Aatrox does cancel 87 bazillion autos. Not really certain why. Graves is now here to back him up. He does have the ultimate, which it looks like he will use. He will use it, but not very successfully. As Lilia is just trying to chase him down now, will take him out and grabs the level 6, so she will be able to sleep the Aatrox, through which she does, and double kill over to the Lilia, which is very, very important. Getting this Lilia snowballing is going to be so helpful because her jungle clear just becomes so dang fast. And she gets so much damage, and she just runs around, and no one can do anything about it.
That Lilia's movement speed is frightening. You see that champion running down the lane at you, and it's just some kind of primal fear.
Another trade going in now is the mid lane. Garfield Lazaga able to do a lot of damage to this Casio, but Casio is just able to kite him away, and he will survive. Oh, an HP, and no, Casio taking the tower shot
directly into the tower range.
Oh, that's not what you want to see, but alas, a mistake from Senpai in the mid lane.
Everyone makes them.
Indubitably. Unfortunate stuff.
So we have, what do we have on the Galio here?
Proto Belt, and it looks like the beginnings of a Merc trend.
Solid choices.
I agree. The Galio, I think, is a good pick in the Casio. I mean, I guess the Casio scales harder, but the Galio gets so much magic resist from his passive shield and from his W that I just feel like he's going to get so much usage out of it. But I think we'll have to wait for mid to late game team fights to really see how more useful the Cassiopeia is.
For sure, for sure.
I really don't know about this, but double flash into the bot lane as they're interrupting my thinking, which is very rude. But,
I was about to say there's a whole lot of nothing going on down in the bot lane.
Yeah, and then there's a whole lot of everything. Is CF Card and Manwallers blow 3 of their 4 summoners. I guess all 4 flashes were blown in the bot lane there, as well as 3 of the 4 ultimates. So
fascinating.
Yeah.
So down in the bot lane, they have a heal left on each side, and Thresh still has his exhaust.
He does have his exhaust, which is going to be very helpful for them. But, looking for a little bit of a lane gank maybe, but they don't realize that the Ashe of Taco and the Thresh of Banks are backing. Oh, they aren't. Oh. Uh-oh. Aphelios ulting into them. Dazzle connecting on both of them, which makes Lilia misses E, but does not matter. Graves has now joined the fight, and Lilia will be taken down by the tower, unfortunately. Galio is looking for a roam. But...
The exhaust came down from the Thresh onto the Lilia, I believe.
Yeah, being able to take her down, which is an important shutdown, that did go over to the Graves.
Exhaust is probably one of the most effective tools you have against a champion like Lilia, who's just so fast.
I mean, and she still can be so fast with it. Extended training now going into the top side. Aatrox does have flash to chase after the Wukong if he feels, but he also does have the flash to follow, and he does flash and does connect And there is a dead monkey in the top lane. Rip Wukong. Rest in pieces.
Unfortunate.
But, pretty lit score Aatrox has. But, bad joke. Bad joke, bad joke, bad joke.
Awful.
But Cloud Drake, the second Drake of the game, is getting looked at by Ithaca. That Ashe ult will be connected onto Sandbag, and Senpai will just destroy him and take him out.
It was an interesting attempt from Sandbag.
Yeah, not really the attempt that he was looking for, though. That's
all there really is to say about it. It was interesting.
Oh my goodness. Oh man, okay, so that Wukong just did a lot of damage for I have no idea what reason, but
just completely
Eli Ron will be able to take out the Aatrox. Dazzle will connect onto the Thresh. The Lantern will go out as Galio is now joining the fight. Will be able to knock up the Thresh as Cassio is now here. That shield just deals so much, and Thresh is taken very low, and so is Thresh, and they're both just so low to getting taken out. And eventually they will trade. The Aphelios killing the Thresh, and the Graves trading it back onto the Aphelios. Very wacky and weird fights we're seeing right now, where teams are just kind of starting a little brawl, just like hanging out, high-fiving each other for a little bit until everyone else gets there. And then it's turning into all-out team fights. But very scrappy still, not super organized like we were hoping to see just yet. Oh. Just clearing vision in the bot lane.
Lots of jungle wards down in their own jungle for Ithaca.
Yeah, they do have a lot of vision. They have a lot of their own vision, but there's a lot of vision on the side of DragonClaw that have come down with them. Like, we see, what, is that a pink ward in the blue buff push? But, Garfield's Ithaca is getting collapsed on by 3 members of DragonClaw. He does a decent amount of damage, but not enough to really matter anything, as Cassio even is able to auto a minion before she takes out Garfield's Ithaca. Sandbag, what
was he thinking there?
I'm not sure, but he wasn't thinking the right thing. I can tell you that. That was just wacky.
There's a little bit of
play. Yeah,
a little bit of brain lag there.
Yeah, but it totally happens. Maybe he saw something we couldn't see. Eli Ron is fighting in the top side, though, doing really good trades with the Aatrox. As long as he doesn't get hit by the crit, he'll be okay, but he got hit by the crit. So another death onto Eli Ron and another kill onto this Aatrox, who already has a completed death stance. It's not the usual first item from an Aatrox, but a strong item nevertheless. I guess he really didn't feel the need to start that Black Cleaver into the Wukong. But
we have
the sound effects of that skin are so interesting.
Oh yeah, they're very lightsaber.
Okay, I want a Jedi Aatrox skin now. Who needs Odyssey Aatrox when you can have Jedi Aatrox?
And while we're at it, let's have Jedi Aurelia, Jedi Riven.
True.
Project Master Yi is basically a Jedi.
Or not,
anyway.
Not Project. There is the there is a Master Yi skin with lightsabers. I can't remember what it's called. It's not very good, but
I mean, the Project one base.
Project
one is
not a Project
also...
one. Actually, is a lightsaber one, but yeah, I guess the Project one kind of.
Yeah.
No, I understand. I'm sorry, I kind of went overboard, but no, I do kind of see that.
Yeah.
Maybe that'd be kind of like Psyops. Not really Psyops.
I mean,
Eli Ron does get the tower, but he's going to get chased down by both of the Graves, and the Aatrox will eventually get taken down, I would presume. Yes, as he will, as Bruco becomes unstoppable.
But that is first tower to the side of Ithaca.
DragonClaw is taking down the Rift Herald. That's very important. They're being able to collect all of these objectives, and Ithaca just hasn't been able to collect them so far. They have the single tower. I guess it is first tower, which is really nice, but Galio and Lilia are going to look onto this Cassio. I don't understand how the Lilia got stunned by that, but yeah, she did. The Cassio will be taken down. Senpai killed by the Lizaga.
That is quite a bit of damage off of that Galio.
Yeah.
Lizaga.
Leviosaga. But
The number of jokes you can make off of that name.
that is very true. Teams
These
now starting to
middle-
posture around the dragon, which is very, very important. Third Drake, especially with a Mountain Soul, is so important for both of these teams. Manwallers will get hit by the hook, but Thresh will not decide to go any further, as they will just look to usher this Rift Herald into Ithaca's outer tower.
We have these middle of the lane wards again.
Oh,
They're
Thresh flash
good
hooking,
positioning.
making Lilia flash away as well. Dragon's taken down to 5,000 HP as Ithaca's starting to group around it. Aphelios is a little bit behind, but he will be there soon. The Dragon is now down to 1,400 health, 1,100, and Lilia is able to steal it. She does get hit with both the Cassio and the Ashel, but she is able to take the Dragon, which is so, so important.
That is a very strong Graves.
In a very important Dragon skill, not a skill, but very important Dragon skill regardless. That is what you love to say. Love to see.
Love to see it. That Graves is 6-1 and 3.
He's building lethality this game, so he's going to absolutely shred through all of the members of Ithaca, especially if Lazaga continues to build the full AP build that he's building currently. It's going to be a very high damage team for both of them. Ruko is looking at Lazaga, sees him pass in front of him. They could even maybe look for a dive, especially because his Aatrox is going to have so much HP. But they will not. Oh no, Sandbag is walking into a disaster. She will be able to sleep the Graves and get away, or she will go back in rather, and that was
interesting.
Yeah, a little bit interesting. I don't know. It seems like Sandbag is kind of mental boomed this game. He's not really doing what he normally does. I guess it's just an off game. Maybe he didn't want to play the Lilia, and Manwallers forced him onto it. But
it does happen. Sometimes your teammates are like, play this, and you don't want to, but you just agree anyway, because it's not worth fighting it.
True. It happens.
Every time I get put on the Leona. Cassio's going to take the blue buff here.
The gold lead is gradually starting to climb as we keep. They've got DragonClaw has now worked their way up to a 3,000 gold league, which is getting a little bit up there. I mean, most of their gold is going to be on the Aatrox and the Graves. Oh wow. Okay, so like all of the gold lead is on the Graves, but yeah, that is a very, very strong Graves. I can't get over that.
Now 7-1 and 3.
And even up a bit of CS on the
DragonClaw is up in CS across the board.
Yeah, they are. I mean, I guess some of them are close, but Lilia will get hit by the hook. Ash Arrow will go wide, and they will, or rather Sandbag will just walk away for now. We do have to keep in mind, though, Aphelios is just going to keep scaling and get stronger and stronger, and same with this Wukong. So I don't think this game is over yet, but it's starting to look a little bit bleak because that Graves is just so scary.
He completed Zeke's Convergence on the Thresh, and the same on the Taric just now. It's a very good item on those kind of close combat supports.
It's a very good. Ash is getting towards building her second item. I guess Aphelios is too. I thought Ash would have a little bit of a lead, but I didn't realize Aphelios hadn't backed yet. So their items are very similar. I don't know. I feel like these fights right now depend on the Graves and how much damage he can really do. I think if Cassio can get a good ult off her and Ash ult lands, that could maybe impact a fight. But at this point, I think fights go semi-evenly as long as if Ithaca can play it right. If both teams play it right.
There's a huge bounty sitting on that Graves.
Starting to stature towards this dragon. This would be the third Drake for DragonClaw and the second Drake for Ithaca. The second Mountain Drake of the game as well, as it is coming now in 40 seconds. But I am wondering what will come of this dragon fight. Both of these top laners do have TP, so they will be able to come down, presuming they want to. And as they're working their way down right now, they're actually looking onto combat onto the Aatrox right now as Wukong uses his ult after the Dazzle connects. They're running, not entirely certain why. Maybe they don't think it's a good trade, but that Aatrox does deal quite a bit of damage.
There's, with the Black Cleaver and the Death Dance, there's a lot of damage coming off of that Aatrox.
It really is. It looks like Ithaca is just going to concede this third Drake, which puts DragonClaw on to Soul Point, which is so important.
We have a Leandries on the Lilia.
I like that ward skin. I don't know what that ward skin is, but I definitely approve of it. It is important now, though, on that back, I think... No, it was the back before that. It's not super big, but... I feel like... I don't know. I don't think we'll be seeing too much combat before the Drakes happen. Maybe over this blue buff. No, we will not, but... It just seems like teams are trying to scale right now. The sleep will land onto both the Graves and the Galio, or Thresh rather. Graves will ult back. Dazzle does not connect on anyone as Aphelios ult lands on 3, which is really, really huge. The Taric ult is coming down as Aatrox is in the backline, absolutely murdering the Lilia. But regardless, she will be alive for now as Wukong is forced to flash out. He has a chance and he will kill the Graves. He will not be taken down by the volley either, so he will survive. Meanwhile, though, in the mid lane, Lazaga is able to re-engage on that Galio, dealing so much damage. Oh, if that Dazzle connected.
That Cassio is 1 HP.
Oh, she is, and if that Dazzle connected, she was just dead, but unfortunately it was not, so it'll just be a 2-for-2 trade.
If not for the Ashe, I think they would have been able to chase that Cassio down.
Oh, there it is. There's the Aatrox shutdown going on to the Wukong, which is important, but Wukong will be traded in return. These fights are just... Yeah, these fights just seem super extended and super split. Kind of just what we talked about before. There's a lot of skirmish, like not a lot of skirmishing, but a lot of like 3-parted fights that are happening, you know?
Definitely.
Like, and that just, I think that is more or less working in the favor of Ithaca, just because they're able to split off the Aatrox and the Graves from the rest of the team, and they're able to pick them off like they have been. But, Hook will miss on the CF card. Very close.
Speaking of CF card, he has tied up the CS count with the Ashe.
He has indeed, and I think he has a little bit of gold up on the Ashe right now. I don't know how much she has in her inventory, but... Oh, she doesn't really have much at all, so CF card is even ahead a little bit, which is really nice to see, and Lily has even closed her gold lead a little bit from 3,000 to 2,000, and Wukong has gotten a lead. So the gold lead is definitely starting to flop. Ithaca now down only 1,000 gold, and all of that is on the Graves. So this game is still on a nice point. I feel like the soul could really be the deciding factor.
Definitely could be. And that's the next big change here, really. Let's get the soul point and then the elder.
Dragon is still a minute and a half away, yet teams are starting to get ready for it really early, which I find it kind of funny. Oh, but engaged no, going on to Man Walrus. Hook will miss, but Dazzle will connect onto the Aatrox. He is now running for his life, and so is Wukong, as he is a little bit alone, and rip Man Walrus. He will be taken down. Galio is pushing in this top wave, though, and I don't know if he'll be able to take the tower, but he'll at least be able to get a whole bunch of damage on it. And it's an inner tower, too, which is an important one to take.
Looks like DragonClaw are just going to completely clear out the vision in Ithaca's jungle.
Eli having to TP to safety. That's unfortunate to waste that 5-minute cooldown, but I guess if he survives, right? And that's what matters. Dragon is 30 seconds away. Let me reiterate, it is so important for either one of these teams. The Mountain Soul is huge for the side of DragonClaw. I feel like it's almost game deciding, whereas Ithaca are trying to fight to keep building up those stats. There's really no vision around it for either team at the moment. But regardless, everyone's coming in. Aatrox is pushing the mid lane, whereas Eli is working on that top wave, or bot wave.
Both teams are at Dragon.
They are, and Aatrox is looking for a flank. And then now it is now spawned. It has not been started yet, but they know the Aatrox is behind them, so they have to play very safe. The Edge of Night Shield has been taken off the Graves as the Dragon is now started up and pretty much melted. Already under 5k, now at 4k. And Aatrox ulting onto the backline, on CF card in the back. Lily Asleep is huge onto 3 members of them, and they were looking towards taking out the Cassiopeia, which they do, as Aatrox also extends a little bit too far and gets 200 years in the backline. Eli is chasing down the Thresh. They will take him out eventually. It just is a matter of time, and about to get bonked, and bonk, and there he goes, and he is dead. Very, very good trade for Ithaca. Very good indeed. The 3 for 0 with the Dragon and what looks to be maybe even a Baron.
They also have pulled into the lead in terms of golds. Not by much, but...
But yeah, the gold lead is better than the 4,000 they were behind earlier. Although Graves is looking for the steal, which could be devastating. We have seen it before.
It is not impossible.
He just dashes away. I don't think he's looking for it. Oh, they're just chasing the Graves. This guy looking for the steal, tries to start backing, and it's just
going to die for his troubles.
He will indeed.
Ithaca now with a 2k gold lead.
That's good, and they have the Baron buff to make that lead even bigger. Ithaca was really able to turn this game around. I think that fight was good because, yes, it was split, but it was split in not the greatest way possible because the Aatrox was all on his lonesome in the backline, and it just allowed the Lilia, and I believe it was the Taric to just jump on top of the Cassio. Like, talking about that last Dragon fight, which I just feel is so important because she's going to be doing so much damage right now. And the Graves was chunked out in the beginning, but look, landing on a Man Walrus. Banks will not go in.
And that Lily asleep in that fight was huge.
It really was. It was under 3 members. It was under the Graves, it was under the Cassio, it was on Thresh. Those are the 3 targets you would want to land it on too. Is now she looks to get picked off in the back. She will flash, but it does not matter. She just gets CC'd and taken out by the Wukong and the Galio.
Wukong is just going to...
Galio now moving him in. Aphelios ulting in. Getting the shield on 2, where all of them will get the unball and ability from the Terracol. And Aatrox, it is just a matter of time before you get taken out. And there he goes. Ithaca and making their gold lead even bigger, ballooning it even. They were down 3 gold 2 minutes. 3 gold, yikes. They were down almost 1.5k gold 3 minutes ago, and now they're up 5,000. That's huge, and it's only going to get more because they have the bot lane pushing in and the mid lane. I think they might be able to get an inhibitor here and those 2 outers. So, yep, there it is, up to 6k now, and as they push towards these inhibitor towers, they might get an...
melting these towers. Even Wukong all on his lonesome.
They really are, and there goes the inhibitor. So super minions will now be pushing into the mid lane and what looks to be the bot lane, although they are getting respawns, so there could be a fight. Hook lands onto Manwars, but the Thresh will not go in. Flay back, and holy jeez, Aphelios just does so much damage on that backline. Cassio's now taking out, and I just think it's game. I think Lily has just won this fight, and now it's over. The Graves and the Ash are both very low. Wukong now going into the backline, ulting, knocking out both of the Aatrox and the Graves, but he will be taken down eventually. Aatrox has so much lifesteal, but it does not matter because Aphelios just has more, and he is just dealing so much damage as Lilia is also able to take down Graves in the backline, and there is
It
a
is
confirmed
over.
playoffs and a series win for Ithaca College. Woo!
Wow.
That game turned on its head in those last 5 minutes. That's a fact, and you just love to see it.
CF Card just really he just came online and really the last 8 or so minutes, not even that much time in the game, he just went huge.
He really did. He just turned it around and started going ham, and it did work out in the end of Ithaca, and that's really what you like to see. But I am going to throw it to our amazing interviewer, Mary, and we will be back for our outro very soon.
So thank you, Jared and Em, and I'm here with the ADC of IC, CF Card. How's it going?
Good, thank you.
All right, so just starting off, what was your game plan heading into facing DragonClaw's bot lane?
So the way UML is comprised is it's a diamond league, and normally most players are diamond because that's just kind of the rank, that people sit at. But their AD carry was plat 4, which is considerably lower than diamond. And it doesn't mean he's a bad player. It just means like rank wise, looking at the statistics, he should be technically a lower level player or a lower skilled player. And so our kind of what we were thinking at the start was we were going to try and just kind of take over through the bot lane. And it just happened to be that their support was pretty good at deterring a lot of early game pressure that we could try and push off. And in the first game, their support was a lot stronger on the Alistar than in the second game when he was on the Thresh. He just had a lot more potential to, deter any ganks that we had going bot lane. And I think we played it pretty well once we decided that we weren't just going to try and dogpile bot lane early game, just because the way we went into our second game draft, we decided to pick Aphelios, which is a notoriously late game champion, whereas Samira is very much like an early game champion. We tried to fight like fire with fire, going Samira into Lucian, who's also a notoriously early game dominant character. And so I think we had to change up our game plan in our second game, but we still managed to pull through.
Sweet. And touching on the champions you just mentioned, so recently Aphelios got buffed, and so I would like to hear your feelings on those buffs as well as how he's performing now in comparison to before.
So a while ago, back in February, Aphelios was kind of dominating the AD carry meta. He was one of the best, or probably the best AD carry that people could play. He just had so much damage. His power spike was still about the same amount of time, but his base stats were just way higher, so he could get there faster than he can now, or up until this past patch where they I'm not saying he's back to his full potential when he first was released, but he's starting to get back to playability. He's still one of those kind of sleeper picks right now, because not everyone's kind of picked up on the new buffs that he's acquired. But I think he's definitely going to be a more popular pick going into next season.
Yeah, and so looking at Samira, traditionally she's known to stomp in games overall because she's a brand new champion and stuff like that. But you were getting a bit destroyed in that game, and so were you worried about going to that game after the draft against that Lucian?
Yeah, so there are really two champions that are good against Samira. One of them is Lucian, and the other one is Jhin. And they picked probably one of the two best supports to play against Samira as well, because Alistar has no projectiles in his engage. Samira can't block his engage, so when he goes in on Samira, she has no way to kind of escape besides flashing each time. And so we kind of just got double counterpicked bot lane, and it wasn't the worst thing in the world to happen because we managed to come through. Eli kind of just carried us through the first game, but it was I haven't played against it personally. So it was something I had to kind of learn from, and I know now a little better about the matchup. But it's definitely something that I know now to for the future.
Yeah, and so looking at your games overall, both of them were pretty close games. And were you guys really scared of losing at any point? And what do you think the strongest factor was in you guys winning both those games back to back?
So in terms of the closeness in the first game, we were losing a lot of the early fights, or actually most of the time. They just had a much better skirmish comp than we did with the Galio and the Graves. They're just notoriously good, 1v1, 2v2s, because Galio can just teleport across the map. Lucian's just a really strong burst champ, and Samira takes time to power up. Like you just can't go in with the same, like you can't go in at 100% with Samira, whereas the Lucian, you can just go all in right at the start. And that's just kind of how their play style or their team comp was in game one. So we were just losing those fights team comp based because we just weren't playing to our team comp's strengths. But in the end, we kind of just pulled through because they started making a bunch of mistakes, taking these more than just, they started getting greedy really. And in the second game, there were a few points where me personally, I was a little nervous because Aphelios is such a late game scale comp. I was worried we weren't going to get there in time. And they had taken 2 dragons pretty early on in the game. And we were feeling the pressure to fight for the 3rd dragon, because if you get 3 dragons, or if one team gets 3 dragons, you have to fight for the 4th dragon. And there's a 5-minute interval in between each dragon. And Matt Pulsifer made a really, really clutch dragon steal for the 3rd dragon, which really bought us the time to scale up and for me to really scale up and get the item that I needed to really start doing, basically to be a champion, because really until Aphelios gets Infinity Edge and Runa's Hurricane, he just doesn't have the same stopping power as a lot of other champions.
Sounds good. And so just a final feel good kind of question. How's it feel knowing about playoffs and you guys going into that?
It feels really good. We were a little nervous going into this game because up until now they were the #1 seed, or not seed, but they were the highest on just like the roster, or I don't know what the word is, but the list of people in our group, or list of teams in our group, excuse me. But it feels really good beating them and knocking them out.
All right, sweet. Well, thank you so much for your time, Tenzin, and I'm going to throw it right on back to Jared and Em.
Thank you.
Thank you for that interview, Mary. And I just want to recap the series really quick. Today we had a 2-0 victory for Ithaca College over DragonClaw, which is a very, very, very important win because, as we stated in the beginning, this is week 5 and the final week of group play for the Upsurge Minor League. And because of this 2-0 victory, Ithaca is guaranteed playoffs, which is super, super, super important. I'm not entirely sure of what seeds they will be getting, as there are more games that still need to be played, but that is a very important thing to know. And we had a really good series, and I was just like, Em and I were talking a bit as the interview was going on, and we were talking about our most exciting points. And what do you think was your turning point in this game? What do you think really made this series, Em?
Oh, well, that Lily asleep in that dragon fight in the second game was huge. I know I talked about it in game, but
it just needs to be reiterated. It was amazing. The sleep on it, those 3 carries, is just so impactful and so really helpful to have. I don't know. It's out of that 3 carries, what more can you expect? You have, I guess it wasn't all 3 carries, but the Graves and the Cassio and the Thresh. You get it onto the Graves, who won't be able to defend himself, and the Cassio and Thresh, who are grouped, so they can just get instant damaged on. And it's just it's perfect. And I feel I agree. I think it was the turning point of that game and the turning point of the series, honestly. I really feel like Ithaca was able to pick up ground after that and take the win, which I just feel really, really helped them out. But regardless, we are running out of time. So this has been week 5 of the Upsurge Minor League, broadcasted by Bombers Live in association with ICTV Sports. I am your play-by-play caster, Jared Cameridian Anderson, and I have been here with my color caster, Em Rosehawk Reynolds. And I hope you guys all have a good day.